Hello, today is Sunday, October 19th. It is currently 3:10 p.m. and there is a couple things that I have to do. So first and foremost, the introduction to the video. So hi, my name is Manuel Gonzalez. I am I don't want to say new anymore because it's not true. I'm a PhD student here at Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan, and I am giving you the general scoop of what is up at this YouTube channel. So this YouTube channel has to do primarily about a week in the life as a PhD student, where I get to show you the ups, the downs, the lefts, and the rights in terms of what's happening to be a PhD student. And hopefully you get to enjoy the content of that. If you're new here, welcome. Hopefully you will like the content of this day. And if you are a returning member to the already growing family that I have, welcome back. And so with that being said, let's get to the video. So first and foremost, there's a lot of things that I have done over the course of this weekend. But let's just focus on today. So today we managed to wake up relatively late. I want to say we end up waking up a little bit kind of later, and so with that we ended up going onto the computer and I ended up looking at a couple of things that I had already done in the past, but I also needed to look at things that I hadn't even touched yet. And so then I started writing my ethics AI part 1, and I did finish it, but I didn't fully sit down and reread it again. But essentially what I wrote on that one is I wrote on the fact of how AI encompasses that whole co-authorship with the human, and so how you can write with it and who owns the writing and etc in regards to ethics. And so I did that. I didn't really analyze that whole spiel before I turned it in because I haven't turned it in, and so that's where I left it. Honestly though, I was getting kind of sleepy, so because of that I stopped right now. But then I also I don't have ADHD or anything, well, at least I don't think I do, but I got distracted at some point, and I have a Mac Mini which I don't often use, and now I am kind of sort of trying to use it because I was getting tired of texting on my phone, so I was like, well, might as well text on the computer while I'm here. And so I activated all that, and while I was activating it, I was trying to do the cross section where the iCloud merges into everything and blah blah, but I guess I text too much, that I have 4 gigabytes of texting data, and so because of that it was taking up all my iCloud storage. And so now I have this impending doom of do I want to buy storage or do I not want to buy storage? Do I want to go through Verizon Wireless because they have an Apple One bundle that gives you 200 gigabytes for $20 for a family plan or whatever, but well, it gives you Apple TV. And so I went onto that whole roller coaster of how to buy all that jazz and blah blah. Now I have a couple things in mind. First and foremost, I was I'm getting sleepy, I want to go take a nap, so I might end up taking a nap after this video. But also I have to edit the video that I'm supposed to be uploading today, Sunday, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start editing it right now, but while I'm in the midst of editing it, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fall asleep, or I'm gonna be like an old man. So we'll see how long I get to that point. But my friend did message me earlier who was like, hey, what, after I get off of work, do you want to play video games? So assuming that's a thing, that happens in around 4 hours. And so either I take a nap or I use that time to do stuff. I don't know. Breakfast, I was trying to call DTE, the Detroit Gas and Electric thing. And then I was trying to, I don't know what else I was trying to do. I was trying to situate everything. Hello, so today is Monday, October 20th. It is currently 3:42 p.m. and a lot has happened actually. So today I woke up early in the morning just to find out that this whole I don't even know what the proper terminology for this is, the whole AWS situation was happening with Amazon and how they were losing servers and yada yada. And so It didn't affect me in a personal level. Like, I don't use Snapchat and stuff like that. I don't really know what other websites is part of that or apps, but it did affect me in a working level because of the fact that D2L and Canvas and all that mumbo jumbo that I use as a student and B as a teacher were being neglected, or like we're off, or whatever you want to call it. And so that kind of sucked. And then on top of that, I was like, oh, this is going to take a few seconds or whatever. It's not going to take much. And then it turns out that it wasn't. It was taking forever to alter that. And so I went to go teach my Oakland Community College. I wasn't able to do much, but I did talk about some certain things in regards to paper number 2 that I didn't want to see in paper number 3 because it was going to affect them a lot. And so we had that discussion, that conversation, and everything was fine and dandy on that end of the shtick. So I guess. And then I was going to read Co-Intelligence by Ethan Malik and finish that, but my friends are just so bad influences that I don't even know how to process this conversation. Like, they messaged me and they were like, hey, like, get on so we can play video games. And so right now, I'm kind of playing video games, even though I shouldn't, because I technically have to give a presentation for the book, I think tomorrow, and I haven't done that either. So, I don't know. Look at all my drinks. 3 Lipton, 1 Brisk, 1 Coca-Cola, 2 water bottles. It's like all over the place. I don't really know. And then I always carry snacks with me. I got Oreos and Yogis, and I have a whole other amount of snacks here. That's how I live my life. And then apparently I got quesadillas. I'm not even hungry, but I know I'm going to be hungry, and so so we'll see how this goes.
¿Aló?
Hello.
¿Qué onda, hijo?
¿Qué onda?
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien. ¿Y usted?
Pues aquí entre jodida y no.
So, update. It is currently 7:37 p.m. and as you can see, I managed to call my mom just to do a general check-in and see how she's doing, how's happening. One of the things that is currently happening on my mom's side of things is that apparently she has like gallstones, I believe. And so she is going through the process of like kind of feeling the pain and not feeling the pain. So she's like all over the place on that regards. But they still haven't done like the emergency surgery on her because of the fact that like she's not there yet. But she is getting like hit with all these like waves of like episodes of like it does hurt and it doesn't hurt, and it's kind of like whatever. So I was checking up on her. At this point I told her to just eat something that's going to trigger it so they can just send her in, because they wanted to do the whole process of like, oh, like the insurance needs to approve like the thing and blah blah blah. And so I was like, just trigger it so they can transfer you like emergency. But I guess she's afraid. And then on top of that, I decided to call my dad's mom, so my grandma on my dad's side, and that was a lovely conversation. I don't call her as often. I don't tend to call my family that often, and that's my fault. But I decided to call her, and that conversation was nice. And so on that note, now I'm making mashed potatoes. Look at that. Even though I don't have a potato smasher or whatever, it came out pretty delightful. Look at this. Look. Wow. I didn't put milk in it though, so it could be fluffy. And then over there I'm getting more potatoes so I can crush more in here. But I don't know, this is like the biggest pot that I have, and it's kind of like biting me in the butt because like I wish I had a bigger pot, but whatever. At some point, my friend Alex decided to like abandon me, and then he's like, I'm gonna go do something. And I used that time to finish my book, and I actually finished it. And so I kind of wanted to talk about it. So the book that I read was Co-Intelligence by Ethan Malik. And so that's the one that I'm going to be presenting. And overall, from all my notes that I have gathered, because it was a lot of notes, the general purpose is kind of like on par with what I'm trying to research, is that essentially we should partner up with AI and we should co-author with AI and we should just like work on par with AI, especially because it's not going to go anywhere. And so might as well like work with it instead of like fighting against it. So the big picture of what Malik is arguing is that humans should partner with AI slash the co-intelligence, not outsource judgment. He gives 4 rules for working with AI and then shows 5 roles AI can play, which is the person, the creative, the coworker, the tutor, and the coach, ending with near-term futures. So there's like a lot of like conceptualizations on this. So he talks about like, I don't want to go that in that, but essentially what he's talking about is that there's an ethical way of doing this and there's obviously a bad way of doing this. Obviously, if you get replaced by AI because you are just giving yourself up and not really working alongside of it, then that's your fault at that point. And so when he gets to that particular subject matter, he talks about how we're not doing the right thing. And he talks about that usually we would want to establish a sort of co-authorship. So if I have like an idea, we bounce ideas, we talk about it, we spew up an overall idea, and then we work on that together. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like taking away my identity and just letting AI do the work, because obviously there's like hallucinations and stuff like that will alter that. But he does talk about that, like, why not enforce it, or why not help it, or why not like let it help you? And so he said there's realistically nothing wrong with that, in which I agree. And so kind of gives like the whole concept of like work smarter, not harder. And he gives like a lot of responsibilities for the human to like give the AI, in the sense of like, here's like the ethical boundaries that you should do, and these are the steps in order for you to achieve those boundaries, and also like understand what is left and what is right when it comes to like how much I should use AI and how I shouldn't use AI. And so there's that. I really like that whole concept of things, but now I have to put all that into like a PowerPoint presentation and present it to the class, and that's going to be more in depth on like what the hell he was focusing on. But I guess we'll talk about it later. Hello, good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, October 21st. It is currently 4:03 p.m. And after coming to give lecture here at Wayne State and going to my practicum class where they teach us how to do teachers stuff, we are done with the day. And so now I'm on my way to the parking lot so I can go home, but it's very windy, Jesus. It's not necessarily cold, but it is like showing like it's gonna rain. And so we're kind of rushing on our way back home because I don't want to get caught in the rain, even though I'm kind of dressed up to be in the rain. But on that note, today's day was pretty interesting, to say the least. For my class, it was fun. It's always fun. We talked so much smack back and forth. A lot of students were kind of arguing about their grade for project number 2, and nobody did bad. I don't understand why they were arguing because of the whole thing, but everybody did good. Everybody got a good grade. Everybody got decent feedback and applied feedback to their paper. But you know, just because they got a 92 and it wasn't a 100, I guess they're flipping, but whatever. And so we were talking about that. We were also talking about the fact that project number 3 is already here and they have to pick a topic, and etc, etc, and hopefully they have a topic that they should pick or they can pick. But all in all, the main thing that we talked about is that on Thursday, which is in 2 days from now, we are having a library day. And because of library day, they are supposed to meet me at the library and not supposed to meet me at the classroom. But even though I said it, and even though I posted an announcement, that I'm pretty sure they're gonna end up messing up, and then they're still gonna go to the classroom. But whatever, that is a future problem. On that note, when we went to the practicum, the one thing that we talked about today is grading structures or grading rubrics for paper number 2. And we had a debate a classroom-wide debate, whether rubrics are 10 out of 10 or they're terrible or they're good, etc., etc. I am a fond believer and a very passionate believer that rubrics, to some extent, are terrible. Now, I guess here's my mentality of what a rubric is. My rubric mentality is like, let's say that you have like a paper that wants you to talk about rhetorical strategies, rhetorical appeals, and like have like 3 sources or 4 sources. And let's say that you use like 1 or 2 sources instead of 4, then like you get points deduction. Or if you're like doing like, oh, you're supposed to talk about 4 rhetorical strategies, but you didn't talk about any, you get a 0. And so like kind of like robotic structure like that, assuming that that's the rubric that you're talking about, it kind of just centers the student to be like robots and kind of like talks about like just filling in like the blank, right? So they're like, oh, if I do A, B, and C, then I technically get an A. And I don't like that. It makes them very like boring. The papers are very whatever. There's no voice, there's no personality. They're just getting something done. And so I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. So I never use a rubric. I tend to grade holistically and just be like based off of vibes, I guess, if you want to put it like that. On that note, the discussion was really robust in the sense of like who is doing what and what is the confusion about rubrics, what is the confusion about other concepts of rubrics, and blah, blah, blah. And so that was fun in itself, but who knows? We ended up ending that discussion. We ended up kind of assessing how we're going to grade the papers, but then I was already in the back of the class just kind of being like, I already graded my papers and I already sent them out. So I don't know if people are like behind or I'm supposed to be like that. I don't know. So update, it is currently 9:11 p.m. and we are working on grading actually. So I'm pretty sure I had mentioned this, that I picked up 2 classes at Macomb Community College, and because of that, I have new workload. I basically have 30 students per class, if not give or take around that area, like 27, 28. So that means that I have to grade those assignments. Luckily, the class is is it like asynchronous or whatever? But obviously, there's a lot of grading to be done. But I finally took the initiative to start doing it, and I've been doing it for quite some time right now, and I'm only finishing like 1 class right now. I still have like maybe, I don't even know actually how many I have left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 more students for this particular class to finish, and then afterwards everything else becomes easy, I guess. The assignments are broken down into 3 particular assignments per week, give or take. 2 of them are kind of whatever. They're a discussion board based assignment where they have to answer the assignment and answer somebody else's assignment. On top of that, they have a self-review reflective papers, like not papers, but like assessment of themselves, where they have to just talk about themselves for like a sentence or 2 or 3, or like a paragraph. And then they have their main essay or their main objective. And usually, like the discussion boards and all that stuff is due on Saturday, and the big honcho stuff is due on Sunday. So they just turned in all their stuff like 2 days ago. And so that's what I'm grading right now. I made a video or like a little presentation, whatever, where I told them how I grade and how I do things in my grading side of things. And mainly I talked about how whenever I get feedback, whether it is through a Google Doc sheet, which is primarily what I do, that all the feedback that they get is just for them to see things differently and kind of get like a second opinion and maybe see how I use the big words as opposed to them using whatever words. And so hopefully they take that as a means of improvement and not necessarily me being like, haha, your paper sucks, because it's not like that. So right now I'm giving feedback on their first paper, which is a simple 600-word paper where they have to tell me about their first day of the semester or whatnot. So it entices like voice and tone and analytical aspect of like what happened on the day-to-day. And so they're doing that, or they did that. So I'm grading on that and giving feedback on that. the discussion board and the other assignment, the whatever assignment, I'm just gonna grade on a like whatever basis. I'm not necessarily gonna give feedback back on those because I don't really think that those are the major projects, and so we'll see. But so far so good. Although even though I'm about to be finished with one class in terms of like their big assignments, I still have to do the second class in terms of big assignment. Assuming I have 27 people in that class too, then it's a lot of grading to be done. And then overall, I still have to do the other two assignments. So it's going to take a hot minute. I don't think I'm obviously going to finish today because it's already 9:15, but...
That's what I call Scully.
Hello, so today is Wednesday, October 22nd, and it's currently 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and we just got done teaching my Oakland Community College class, and after finding out from one of my students in the background eating a cupcake that there was going to be a bake sale, I managed to go to the bake sale, and so we bought a couple things. Technically speaking, I bought 2 cookies, but I don't know what happened, that they lost my other cookie. This is one. It's pistachio lemon cookie. And then I bought a brownie. And then I bought a whole loaf. I bought a whole loaf of
Pumpkin bread.
pumpkin. I think it's carrot.
It says pumpkin bread.
Oh, it says pumpkin. Oh, pumpkin bread. And so one had raisins and the other one didn't. I was thinking of getting the raisins, but I don't know. And so technically I had gotten another cookie, and it was like a cookies and cream cookie. And I don't know what happened. I guess the girl just didn't want to give it to me or something. And so I'm pretty sad about that. But now, after coming out of that bake sale, I found 2 of my students who are drawing their sins away. I don't know what you would call it. And so they're coloring the stress away. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stressed because my phone's broken.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's so cute. Like.
Oh, it's just in the upper corner. You're fine.
No, watch her light up. Watch her light up. Wait for it.
And so apparently they're coloring the stress away. I don't know why they're stressing, but apparently.
This is the stress. Coloring
Oh,
my stress
damn.
away.
It's okay, never mind. Her phone is broken. Her phone is very broken. It's typing by itself.
Yeah.
It fits with the theme of Halloween, you know, the poltergeist, the ghost is like typing away.
Maybe I should just keep it broken or something.
So, update, it is currently 2:48, and I've been home for quite a minute now, but I just got done recording my book presentation for my composition theory class, and I just want to say that I don't know what the psychology is on all this, but I understand that I record for YouTube, and I understand that I'm in front of my camera all day, but tell me why. I was recording my book presentation and I just couldn't get it together. Like, and so I recorded it and I did it all in one take, but I feel like it sucked. But I'm not going to worry about it because if I worry about it so much, I'm just not going to upload it and I'm going to just procrastinate and blah, blah. And technically speaking, it's due today. So right now the video is being compressed, I guess, or being made into a video. So I'm going to look at it right now. Watch me freak out about like looking at it and be like, oh God, no. So we'll see how it is. But my friend Josh helped me with the PowerPoint presentation because my PowerPoint was kind of bland. It was just white background and then the text and then call it a day, and I didn't want to do that. So he uses Prezi, like the AI PowerPoint presentation, and you just have to feed it the context and then like it makes the presentation. It made it fancier, so that was pretty cool. So update, it is 4:24 p.m. and as you can see, I am wrapped in my blankets. It's a little bit cold, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel because technically it's not like super cold, but for some reason I'm cold, and that's probably because like I don't have the same insulation as when I was like fat. So now that I'm like not have any meat in my bones, it hits me a lot worse. But
But yeah. I was bed rotting, and I don't really know how to like articulate that, but I'm in bed, and Josh is messaging me if we want to go eat right now, and I guess we're gonna go eat. I think he's gonna come and pick me up, but I'm just like, I'm just here. I guess we're just gonna bed rot for like 5 more seconds and then go. So next time you see me right now, it's gonna be me recording where we want to go eat. So talk to you guys in a bit.
Update 5:09, and now I'm here with Josh, and we are at, what's it called again? Oh, Harry's
Detroit Bar and Grill.
Harry's Detroit Bar and Grill. I ordered a short rib grilled cheese, and I'm kind of excited, especially because they put caramelized onions, and I'm like addicted to those. But we decided to grab a drink and to do. And there was, look at him, he's just there. So now we're waiting for our food and chilling and having a conversation. So I'll show you when the food is here.
Are you just going to teach, or are you going to eventually work on doing it?
New requests, article, and you're going to fill out a simple form. Not all of these fields are required. The ones that are required have red next to them.
Hello, so today is Thursday, October 23rd. It is currently 2:24 p.m. And as you can see from the little clip that I had, we were having class today for Wednesday students, but we did a library day today where they were taught how to, hold on, my thing is not connected. They were taught how to do scholarly activities, like for scholarly journals, scholarly articles, etc., etc. They were taught how to manage the library. They were taught how to find these sources or these archives, and yeah, honestly, it was very productive. I liked the session. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that it was going to be kind of a waste of time, but it ended up being pretty informative. Even I learned a thing or two, even though I already knew a thing or two. On that note, it was an easy day for me because I didn't teach, I didn't do anything, I didn't even prep anything because we had this day going. So now I got my Starbucks from the student center, and I am going to my car because I am on my way to Oakland Community College because I got to teach my Thursday class where they are going to be super tired. Today's peer review, so we're gonna end relatively early. We're not gonna really do much today, so that's fine because, and it works on par with what I'm trying to do, especially because tomorrow and on Saturday there is I'm trying to think, there's a conference here at Wayne State or in Detroit, Michigan, where it's called, I believe it's called CCW, and so we are hosting a bunch of presenters and scholars that are presenting for community-based scholarly papers. And so the conference was here, we are hosting it, we are the ones who made it, and etc., etc. And because of that, I decided to volunteer. And so tomorrow I volunteer to host the live stream session. So I'm like the technical tech guy that manages the live stream. And then on Saturday I am a I don't know what you would call it, a floater. So I'm gonna go into every single department or every single hall and be like, are you guys okay? Do you guys need anything, etc., etc.? And that's what I'm gonna do. And so tomorrow's content is gonna be a lot more funner. So yeah. Hello, update. It is currently 4:26 p.m. and we are in our Oakland Community College. For my composition theory class, we have to do like a 20-page assignment where we have to do like a research article or something along the lines. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we had to have done a article proposal yesterday, which we would have to turn in like at midnight, and I didn't. For two reasons. One, because I've never done a research article or like an article proposal in general. I don't think I have ever, I think. or at least if I have, it's been a hot minute since I've done it. And then second of all, I didn't really know how to word it properly. And then it was also kind of confusing under the fact that like if I do an article proposal and I was like writing about it, that technically some of the things that I want to research in real life have to have like, I don't know what they're called, like studies. Like I had to like have subjects, like human subjects, and like see how they use the generative AI and like what that entails and et cetera, et cetera. But since I don't have that data, because technically this is like made up, I don't really know how to articulate that in my article. So I messaged my advisor and I was like, hey, like I'm kind of struggling on how to go about this. But I was also thinking of maybe like writing a theory-based article where I use other people like Flowering Haze and like Cirque and et cetera, and make my own analysis and my own modernized version of their analysis using them as like sources into my material. So I guess I could technically do that. The other thing I found out is that my advisor and myself have like meetings every 2 weeks, and for some reason I thought that the meeting was going to be next week because I thought that we had the meeting last week. It turns out the meeting was today in the morning, like at 10 a.m. and obviously I was asleep, and then he texted me and he's like, hey, are we meeting today because you didn't accept the calendar date? And I was like, yikes. So that's nice, I guess. Which would have been so beneficial to me especially because I needed help with this article proposal, but I guess that's how damn window. And then let him know like my bad and whatnot. But technically speaking, tomorrow we're gonna meet on Friday, especially because I'm gonna be in campus for a huge chunk of the day because of the CCW conference, so that's cool. So hopefully we can meet tomorrow and I'll ask him about it tomorrow. But besides that, now we're transferring our meetings to next week because of my screw up, so that's nice. So update, it is currently 9:48 p.m. and we're finally home. Today was kind of an interesting day. We actually had a very productive day where a lot of students were talking about their project number 2 and their essays and how they're structuring, how they're writing it. Some people required help, some people wanted an explanation about A, B, and C, and so we had a very robust conversation of what people thought the paper was going to be about, how they should write it, how they should construct it, etc., etc. So we landed on a general consensus. Today it was it's not syllabus day. It was a peer review day, and so most often than not, we tend to have a conversation about people's papers, how they are perceiving the papers, how they thought they're writing those papers, and then we hand them off to the other person, and then they read it, and then they're like, oh, I can see what you're talking about, etc., etc. Because of that, I usually tell them they're more than welcome to stay in the classroom to do the assignment, or they can go home. So we end up leaving early. We ended up leaving super late because some students do take in the opportunity to stay there and actually write their peer review in the classroom. So I ended up leaving around 9 something, and so that's fine. But I don't know if there was an actual emergency or if they just did it to get everybody out of the building because they were going to close off the building, but they turned on the fire alarms. So it was beep, 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 and beeping everywhere. And I was either there's something happening or this is their way of getting us out of the building. And assuming that's their way of getting us out of the building, it's Jesus, that's very aggressive. Today, or right now, since it's so late, I am going to make myself something quick, probably a sandwich or something, and I am going to head to bed because tomorrow morning I have to wake up because I got to be on Wayne State campus before 8, I think. Hello, good morning. Today is Friday, October 24. It is currently 7:40 in the morning, and we're on our way to the CCW conference. Oh god, sorry, I'm just trying to get my whole spiel together. But essentially, we are on our way to volunteer, and today I am managing the live stream, I guess. And so I'm in charge of that. So tech support, I guess. I don't really know how you would call it. But
It's very early. We woke up really early. We went to bed kind of relatively early. So we should be pretty cash money, but I'm not really sure what to expect. I've never really done a conference, so I never really looked into a conference. So this is pretty exciting. I didn't know how to dress, and even though the guys in the group chat told me to dress casual, it was already too late, and I dressed up business casual. So I don't really know what to do with that information, but it's happening, I guess. Not really sure. So we're on our way. We're walking, and apparently it's going to be a pretty hefty walk. I thought it was going to be next to the student center in the library where we were yesterday, but unfortunately it's not. It's going to be way past that. So yikes. Oh no. So I guess we'll get to you guys when we get there and see how I'm going to situate myself. I brought my backpack. I'm not really sure if I was supposed to, but we're here today and we're here tomorrow. We're going to learn today what we're not going to do tomorrow. So talk to you guys in a bit.
It is. And so that's the beginning of Inside Out class. But a big part of Inside Out is also this idea of dialogue. And so the writing that's done inside out then often becomes then.
What are you doing additionally that's helpful? So if you do like actually a full minute to think or write about that, and then wrap up.
Hello, so update. It is currently 4:50 p.m. and we are on our way back to the car, but you know, technically I should have recorded while I was in my office to give like a brief snippet of like what had happened. But we did our volunteering for the conference and that was fine and dandy. Really not much happened. Despite that, I managed to go to my office and I managed to supposedly get some work done. Predominantly though, I ended up grading some papers from Macomb Community College, and then I ended up eating my sandwich because I had packed the sandwich, and I was doing all that because I was waiting to meet with my advisor at 3 o'clock. So now I finished my advisor meeting. I am walking to the car, like I said, and I gotta go home because I want to review. I recorded the conversation that I had with him right now, and I am going to go over it and I am going to take notes off of that conversation because based off of those notes, that's what I'm going to be writing for my proposal for his class. And so on that note, I didn't want to get ran over. And so on that note, we're trying to figure out what I'm going to be writing. We are kind of envisioning, I am envisioning writing about co-authorship and what it means to be co-authoring with a generative AI. I also want to write about the mentality, or I guess the psychology in regards to student confidence building when it comes to generative AI. Because my argument was that most of my students, if not all my students, are very iffy when it comes to English. And what that means is that when I first start my classes, I give them an assignment to tell me how they feel about English in regards to how they talk, how they write for like their friends, how they write for professional settings, and et cetera, et cetera. And most often than not, a lot of my students say that they lack confidence in writing in regards to sounding sophisticated or sounding polished, or whatever you want to call it. So like the stereotypical smarty pants English. And so a lot of students are afraid of writing actual big papers because they feel like they are going to write kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, like dub. And so some of them state that the use of AI and the use of like bouncing ideas back and forth and saying like, hey, like this is what I wrote, did I write it correctly or do I sound dumb, etc., etc., gives them like the confidence to build their English, I guess, to make them sound sophisticated or fancy, or make them sound like they are on par with other people that do sound sophisticated, or whatever you want to call it. So that's another research topic that I'm like interested in, but don't know. So update, it is currently 9:22 p.m. and
We kind of took a moment to listen to the meeting that I had with my advisor, and I jot down all the notes and everything that I personally believe was going to be ideal for me to like jot down. And so overall, the whole conversation was basically revolving on two things. Primarily over the fact that I need to find out an article proposal slash a research topic for his like final paper for his composition theory class. That's overall the main snippet. Things that we're doing is that we're essentially double dipping on my end of the stick by finding my research for his paper, but essentially also trying to plan out my dissertation, like my whole identity, I guess. And so overall, there's a couple things that I want to do because I don't know what you want to call it, where I want to try to overachieve, I guess. And so first and foremost, one of the things that I want to talk about is the fact that I personally believe that students use AI in order to be confident writers or become confident writers. Because some students, most often than not, in my classes tend to say like, oh, like I'm not confident enough when it comes to writing, right? We talked about this before. And so because of that thought, I was like, well, if people use AI or ChatGPT in this case, um, it means because they're using it as like an advisor and be like, hey, like, does this sound okay? Does that sound good? Can you help me make it sound good? Etc. Etc. So it builds confidence for them to learn how to do it, and also like to find out how to use big boy of words or whatever. So there's that. So AI builds confidence. And then the other thing is like being co-authorship. And so we talked about like collaborative writing, co-authorship. We talked about like uh, how it means to like articulate the whole fact of like, well, if we're using AI, when we tend to think of AI, we can also articulate it that it could be like a ghostwriter, right? And so how is that any different than right now? Like technically people pay a ghostwriter for them to write their own things. So you're not paying AI, but like you're using it as a ghostwriter, give or take. And so we basically came up with two articles or two essays or two things that I can eventually research and publish. One of them is AI as a co-author, and the other one is AI as a confidence builder. And so for the paper, I guess I can say like AI has the danger slash ability and training capacity for students. What can it do? What can it do? Can it actually build self-efficacy or confidence? And then it depends on the structure that you give the AI. And it's just like, okay, cool. And so like we were talking about all that and how to go about it, and I am interested in looking into that. But I think one step at a time. So today we already transcribed, well, didn't transcribe anything. I took those notes and I figured out how to handle those notes, and then tomorrow we might sit down and actually go about those notes. So yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about though is that I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but one of the homework assignments that I give my students is weekly journals. And so they are like the most unprofessional thing ever. They are supposed to talk to me academically, and they're supposed to talk to me personally, like if they were on a FaceTime call with their best friend. And so what that means is like if they have like 5 classes a day they are taking, just tell me about it. Like rant, use it as a Dear Diary or like as a therapy session or whatever. Point is that I just graded their paper number 2 a couple like days, if not a week ago. I don't know, I honestly remember. But a lot of students, none of them scored badly. All of them were like in the B range, if not a couple of A's. Nobody was even, I think only like 1 or 2 students were in the C range. That's besides the point. The point being like nobody did bad. But like 2 people on their weekly journal said that they were sad or they were upset about their grade on paper number 2. Now they did follow it up by saying like, oh, I saw your feedback and I like correlated your feedback with my paper and I see what you mean, and I'm like upset because I didn't see that beforehand or blah blah. So like they understand why they got that grade and they see it based on the feedback that I gave them. But tell me why, like, I don't want to say they hurt my feelings because it's not like that, but I really felt bad. And it's not because I'm not trying. Like, I understand I'm the teacher, and I understand that it's not my job to make them feel right, I guess. I don't know how you want to put it, but like, I don't know. I kind of felt bad maybe because, like, as a teacher, I care for my students, and I care that they're happy, and I care that they are learning and that they're coming to learn, and that this is kind of like the downside of building rapport with them, that you like kind of know them more than just a student, and so you care for them obviously. And so like seeing how some students, despite the fact that they got like a B or an A, they were like, oh, like my grade went down because, you know, numbers and statistics alter your grade because you didn't get an A or whatever. And so they're like, oh, I didn't get an A, and so I dropped my own grade, and I'm upset, and I'm sad, and this and that, and blah, blah. And I'm just like, damn, like, so I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, like, it did make me a little bit sad, just a little bit. And it gave me that little moment of like, oh, like I could change the grade to like an A, but obviously I'm not gonna do that. But like, I don't know, man. I just wanted to vent my side of that. But
Hello, today is Saturday, October 25th. It is currently 8:18 in the morning, and we are at the conference. So my volunteering shift technically is from 8:45 to, like, I don't know, I forgot what time. But I got here relatively early because I thought it was going to be like at 8, and so now I'm just here. I did see Adrian, and poor soul is running around, but that's understandable because it's her baby. But I did offer my help, but she's handling too much, so she can't micromanage me, I guess. But I did offer my support to some extent, but I don't want to intervene, especially when I don't want to touch something and break it. But on that note, we're going to be all the way over there. Wait, like all the way over there, and we're gonna be just jumping in between rooms and just being like, "Do you guys need anything? Is everything okay?" And then assuming that everything is fine and dandy, then I'm just there for moral support, I guess.
so update is currently 9:30 a.m. and I am with Josh and Mel because they are doing the Wayne Rhetoric Society of America. Of Detroit, I guess. I don't know.
Of Wayne.
Of Wayne. That seems kind of redundant. It's like Wayne.
Rhetoric Society of America.
Yeah. So we are setting up the conference. Oh, we kind of did set up. And now that is the lady of the hour over there. You can't really see her, but that's Dr. Jenkins. And poor soul is just running around back and forth trying to make this thing work. And so far, so good. It's working. She's doing a wonderful job. But poor child. She can't get a moment to breathe. But we are going to be walking around throughout the whole event so we can see what's up. So let's go do that. So overall, the whole committee, or like the whole conference, is meant for community writing or community events. So one of the ones that I end up doing, or like I went to go visit, was inmate incarceration, being taken out to do expressive writing and like creative writing, and so how those programs are helping inmates to better themselves and go out there into the world, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's that, and then there's also some keynote speakers at the end of the day, and then there's also a bunch of events going on throughout the whole campus. Now, this is just one building out of all the buildings, but the other buildings are like all over the place. So we're taking over the student center for the
major portion of it. And then there's a building where I was yesterday over there. And this is like the big building where the keynote speakers are at. And so look at me. So the keynote speaker isn't necessarily right now. It's probably way later, like around 6 p.m. And so that's happening when it's happening. But we do have like a couple little things around. Little photo booth of like a bunch of books from all the people that are currently presenting here. And this is like our way of like advertising them. So this is pretty cool. A lot of poetry and a lot of research article base. So overall, throughout the whole day, we're gonna have a bunch of speakers going around every single venue that we have, and they're gonna doing their presentations. I think this is happening all the way till like 8 p.m. or like 6 p.m. Sorry, and then it ends here, where it gets all fancy spancy. But I don't think I'm gonna be here for that long. And so there's like a targeted mess everywhere though, but it is pretty interesting. Look at that. We have a little booth table. We have Professor Ryan. And so every single presenter has their little room and accessibility. And so some of them have people through Zoom connecting, and then some people join in person. If you can join in person, cool. If you can't, then that's fine too. We bring them live as well. But we have like little snack booth and coffee booth, because everybody needs coffee, especially this early. And then we have the reservation table.
Yeah,
We should do this in K-12. That's what I
Right,
think. We should
right.
do this work at K-12.
We're gonna end up doing a lot.
I find it interesting because Copilot does a, hello. He's recording a.
Morning, Debbie.
General idea of the conference. Conference is called Conference of Community Writing. Cool. And then the other building, you can't really see it, but the other building is where I was yesterday for the stream. But it's cool that to see this whole place empty though. It's kind of dystopian as well, especially because it's packed on a regular basis. But it is pretty cool. We'll end up seeing what is happening throughout the whole. That's the woman of the hour right there. At some point, I'm just gonna walk in and be like, interview, and then see what she says. But she's busy, so I don't want to do that. Wayne State logo. So I'm technically finally done with my volunteering, but now I'm Josh's moral support at this point. And we're in the rhetoric and composition table. Ah, oh, Big Hefe.
He's a bully. He's a bully.
I thought you just said he's a Mormon. And
No,
I was
he's
like,
a
that
bully.
doesn't come together for
No,
me.
he's a bully.
Stop bullying. I don't know. I condone
He
that in my
literally,
program.
he just was like, yeah, I'm done with my volunteering, and now I'm just here to be Josh's emotional support.
Yeah.
Which
At some point, I'm gonna walk. I mean, I've been walking around, but I've been popping my head into.
I did for this man in the winter. I gave him a detailed tour, a detailed overview.
I remember
of
the
everything.
day.
Yeah.
I walked
And now
into
you're,
class.
they're infiltrating.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta keep him on track, or else he doesn't do his work, and then so I'm the drill sergeant. So technically, I am still here with
Shall I
Josh,
collect my things?
and we are
Technically off the clock. Should I collect my things?
I would.
we are just here mingling. And since we're mingling,
Dr. Susak.
Josh got us a Starbucks because it's finally open. Look at him grading.
I'm not grading, I'm entering grades.
Oh,
That we're due Wednesday.
we finally found.
That we're due Wednesday. That you're so funny.
Honey, I have no problem
That-
admitting that I show up as a hot ass.
Mallory,
Do you think
And then we made a new friend.
I'm actually better than
Rama.
last year.
This is Rama.
Rama.
Yeah.
Rhymes with Obama.
Yeah.
It's Rama.
But I'm Mexican.
Rhymes with Obama.
So it's Rama. Rama.
Student here at Wayne State. It's my first semester here at back as a PhD student. So I also didn't really know what it meant to be a documentarian, but I figure I'm someone who tends to take pictures of stuff anyway. So, but the thing about when you're asked to document something is that it changes the lens through which you observe or experience something. So I found myself trying to take notes, thinking what would I need to remember to tell someone else about this session that I was in, or if I needed to reapply this to something. And so the theme that kept coming back I only managed to make it to a couple of sessions, but the theme that kept coming back was the idea of narratives, and that everyone, whether you're in teaching or working in a creative space, or however we all come to this conference, or the people that we talk to and bring, the research that we bring to this conference, so much of it was rooted in narratives, and that everyone's perspective is powerful and deserves a place at the table. And so I appreciate the conference really digging into that, and it's also very relevant to my research, so I thank you for that as well.
Hello, good morning. Today is Sunday, October 26th. It is currently 4:44 a.m. and we are on our office, inside of our office, because we have some couple work to do. First and foremost, I need to work on Dr. Prushnik's abstract for my project that I'm going to be doing. We had a meeting, and I'm pretty sure I told you guys that we had a meeting. We conversed about what's happening with my identity, I guess, if you want to call it, and we went around in circles, and I tend to record our meetings, so I had a recording. I ended up actually listening to the recording once I got home. I took notes on it, and now what I'm going to be doing right now is dissecting those notes and actually take notes on the notes of what it is exactly that I'm going to be going into. As of right now, off the top of my head, from just creating random scenarios, I have 3 potential projects that I want to be working on, and so now I have to put them on paper for me to figure it out. Overall, though, for his class, I need 1 topic that I'm going to be picking, and I'm just still trying to figure it out, but that's why I'm here kind of early. I also want to do this before the start of next week, because of the fact that next week they start churning in essays, and I'm going to get back to grading, and that's going to take a whole roller coaster. Today, though, I also have to edit the video for today, basically, and so I'm all over the place, to be honest, but I'm going to try to figure this out, some sort, shape or form or way or whatever you want to call it. So, there's a couple things that I have to do prior to this, but because it's 5 a.m., I'm going to wait till later. One of those is that I have to close out last week's video, so you're going to see that with this structure, and then I have to do my intro for this week's video, but I'll figure it out, I guess. Hopefully this is able to pick it up. I wonder if sometimes my neighbors are what is this guy doing? But yeah, so I'll talk to you guys later. One of the things that I forgot to do, and I did remember right now, but I also remembered in the first initial video, was that I have to do my exit video. So for those of you guys that are new here, my name is Manuel Gonzalez. I am a PhD student in Wayne State University here in Detroit, Michigan, and I am doing a week in the life videos. So in this channel, you're going to see the ups, the downs, the lefts, and the rights when it comes to being a PhD student or a graduate student, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing or a crash out or a positive thing. You're going to try to see everything and anything. You're going to come along with me to the journey of trying to find out my identity, which is currently what is happening, and then we're going to start to try to figure out other things throughout the curriculum and throughout the whole degree. But if you're new here and you found my channel, thank you for finding me, thank you for watching, and hopefully you stay. And for those of you that are coming back, or have been back, or have stayed in my channel. Thank you for the ongoing support, and thank you for everything. So with that being said, I'll talk to you guys next week.